That must be some good glue, bro. Cause like I don't know any glue that takes 3+ weeks to dry. Like I've been trying really hard to like grasp this stuff, and I. The day it should have flown. Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. This is going to be a long one, but it's important. Many people in this community get taken advantage of without even realizing it. Today, I'm going to go over a creator who's doing exactly that. And I'm going to review some of his products. But before we get into the review and the details of these two MCU Spidey suits, you're going to need some context. As some of you may know, over the years since Spider-Man No Way Home came out, I've owned a few different versions of the final swing suit. The new classic suit from the end of the film is awesome, it's like an all-timer, and I wanted to make sure that I did it right. I also think it's kind of funny, I never reviewed any of these suits on the channel, but here we are. A Spider-Man suit creator by the name of GV Fabrications popped up on Instagram in the haystack of Spider-Man related content right around 2023. This was in February, and face shells were pretty much his whole game when he first started out. Eventually, he moved into making Spidey suits, and then moved into making really high-quality Spidey suits that looked almost movie grade. This pattern that he followed reminded me very, very closely of another page named Vatsy Studios. Vatsy Studios was a collaborative of several suit makers located in Peru, the same place that GV Fabrications is from. This group came and went with the wind, and a few of you might remember that I've worked with them in the past. This group also worked with some very experienced faces in the community, like Aaron Alejandro, who is still active to this day. As I said, I've worked with Vatsy Studios before, and it was a pretty unpleasant experience. The lack of communication, getting orders done that were placed after mine, done before mine. And he did that because it was a collaboration suit, so like it wasn't as important as the others, which makes no sense because in reality, a collaboration is going to get more sales, whatever. He tried to completely sell the suit from under me when it was done. Like, totally, like it was just never gonna get sent to me. And then I saw it on his story and called him out. Luckily, at the end of everything, I did wind up getting a suit from him, even though he gave me a lot of trouble after I caught on to his little scheme. This may seem unimportant right now, but remember these kind of steps in getting the suit and the pattern that these people were following. You'll want to remember it for later. Next thing I knew, GV Fabrications was offering me the same collaboration deal for pretty much the same exact suit that I got from Vatsy Studios and the same exact price. That was pretty odd. So justifyingly, I was pretty sketched out and backed away from that deal. I didn't want to participate because I thought I was going to get screwed over again. After what happened with Vatsy Studios, I kind of preferred to just sit back and observe people who had already placed their order. This kind of gave me a chance to assess his reliability and his quality control. With all of that being said, I personally never ordered from GV Fabrications. And I'm pretty glad that I didn't. But you still have these two MCU suits, Mask Man. How is that possible? A good friend, Javi, placed his order with GV Fabrications before him and I met. He was practically glowing, explaining to me that he got this suit with a face shell and web shooters and shoes, all for like $350, which seemed like a great deal. Like I was excited for him. From the outside, it really did look like an incredible find. The face shell looked like it was studio quality, the fabrics looked super accurate, like this was almost a no-brainer. So on May 20th of 2024, Javi placed his order for a final swing suit from GV Fabrications. He paid his suit in full pretty much immediately and then asked one simple question that anybody is going to ask. What is the estimated time window to complete the suit? Anybody commissioning something is going to ask you for a delivery date. It happens. GV Fabrications saw this message, and he proceeded not to respond for a week, then stating that the suit is only going to take a month to make. That's pretty good. This sounds a little bit longer than other companies like Print Costume and Heroes Time, but this is handmade by one guy. I can give him a break. 1 month isn't bad. A month later, Javi checks in and is subsequently ignored. With a few more story replies, GV finally responded to his message and said that he just dropped the suit off at the sewing factory to get the suit complete. Well, that's a little odd. If it was only going to take a month to complete, why is it just now being sewn together? Though disappointed, Javi thanked him because he finally got a response and asked for another delivery date. GV claims it's going to take another 3 weeks to complete the suit, making it 2 full months since he placed his order. Another week goes by and Javi gets a message. He gets pretty helpful because he's like, hey, whoa, maybe the suit's done. It's not. Apparently, this creator never inquired with Javi about his shoe size until right now, like 2.5 months into the process, which is crazy. That's kind of on both sides a little bit. I would say that Javi shouldn't have assumed he would know his shoe size, but you're the business guy here. You need to close all the loose ends. You should have asked for his shoe size. This was a completely avoidable delay, and nobody took the steps to do that. But we live and we learn. Let's move on. Another month goes by. This makes 3 months since the order was placed. Are you keeping up? Okay, good. August 27th, GV responds and says that the face shell is complete. Well, I would hope so. I mean, you can finish a 3D printed shell in a day. He also states that the suit is almost finished and that he's just now assembling the shoes. Yeah, it's been a whole month since he got the correct size of shoes and he's just now putting them on. It's at this point that you can see Javi's getting pretty tired of getting the runaround. He kind of explains to him that he was expecting to have the suit in July, which is a whole nother month than what he was quoted, just for GV to turn around and say that, yeah, I know, but I haven't even put the back spider on your suit yet. Oh, you think the delays are bad? You think because it's taken so long that's the worst part? No. There's more. Like, I've been trying really hard to like grasp this stuff, and you're never gonna believe this, okay? Never. He got the wrong shoes again. On September 1st, he sent pictures of the shoes that he bought after Javi sent him in size. And in short, they're still way too big. He's fitting 3 fingers in the heel of these shoes. Even with the shoe size at that point, you probably should have gone lower when you're looking at them in the store. Come on. I'm really unsure how Javi sent his feet measurement twice, and this guy still messed up the easiest part of making a Spider-Man suit, which is just buying shoes. That's okay, we can move on from that. Let's just keep in mind that sizing is obviously a struggle for GV Fabrications. Overseas clothing can be a bit wonky when it comes to sizing and stuff, so we'll give him a break. And hey, he says that the suit's gonna be done this week. Another month goes by. Javi checks in again. What does GV say? He's still gluing the shoes onto the suit. That must be some good glue, bro. Because, I don't know any glue that takes 3+ weeks to dry. That's crazy. On top of all of these delays, GV is just now letting Javi know that he's charging extra for shipping, which was never disclosed when they first talked about the suit. That's pretty scummy. You already got $350 out of this guy. You should have been very upfront about what's going on. October 1st, GV sends another photo and states, hey man, your suit's done. And this is pretty much to be like, hey, send me that shipping money. Oh, okay, so now that you want your money, you'll send me photos of your costume, but I would have to beg you for updates on it the last 3 months. And mind you, this was right before those hurricanes came barreling through Florida. So everybody was preparing, stocking up, doing all of the stuff that means you can't spend an extra $100 on Spider-Man stuff. See, it's at this point as a creator myself that I would have given the customer or Javi a break. I mean, I've actually done this in the past. I've done lots of commissions for symbiote suits, which is was my thing for a very long time. I remember specifically there was a scenario where it was taking me a little bit longer to finish a suit than I personally liked, and I can only imagine that my customer felt the same way. So what did I do to fix this and make myself and the other person feel better? Well, I wiped the rest of his balance. He didn't have to pay shipping, and he didn't have to pay the rest of the labor costs because he'd been waiting so long. Now, yes, did I take a little bit of a hit monetarily for this? Sure. But one, you can always get more money. It's always better to do the right thing instead of make an extra whatever. If you're going to run a business where you're making things for people and you're fulfilling people's personal wishes, then the first step is doing things the right way. Should have had a little spider-like responsibility here and taken accountability for his wrongdoings and the delays and just not being as thoughtful as he could be. And he should have given Javi a break. But I digress. Okay? On October 28th, Javi finally has enough, everything is cleared out, and he's ready to pay that shipping cost. It somehow takes another 2 days to get a response from GV, even after being told that his money is ready. But he claims that he's gonna ship it out the next day, and everything's all good. So, I think we're in the clear. No, psych. After a week and a half of being ignored again, he messages Javi and says he's finally shipping out the suit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. He then proceeds to send a tracking website that's like completely in Peruvian. A little weird. I know that's where he's from, but honestly, once it got to the US, you could just track it with the normal postal service, so it was fine. I'm gonna lean in for this one, okay? You wanna hear the kicker? It doesn't even fit. It's not funny. It's really not funny. This guy waited 6 months and paid $450 for a suit that doesn't fit. When I tell you that I was rageful for him on this FaceTime call, because he FaceTimed me when he opened the suit to try it on. I've had that happen in the past to me personally plenty of times, and dude, it sucks, man, because it's just, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, all of that time was wasted now. For reference, Javi is 6'2" and sent all of his measurements in before the production of the suit started. It was so small when it arrived that Javi thought it was somebody else's suit entirely. Like it was made for somebody else, when apparently it wasn't. He asked GV, and what does he do? He doubles down and says, yeah, dude, that's your suit. What do you mean? It was fitting on the mannequin. Of course it's yours. So after all of this just jumbled mess of one Spider-Man suit and watching it all from the sidelines, I wanted to try and help, I guess. So I bought Javi's suit from him, which in turn allowed him to get another one made that will fit him. That suit is still currently in production, of course. I have no idea how long this one is going to take, but he did offer him a deal, and I'm honestly glad that they were able to get it resolved in any way, shape, or form, because that doesn't happen all the time. Now, I didn't just buy one, but I bought 2 of these suits. Someone else made an inquiry on a Facebook page asking about this specific creator and their experiences with them. And unfortunately, the comment section was littered with people who had similar experiences. Someone else I know personally also bought a suit from GV Fabrications and was in this Facebook post claiming to be selling it because it was also too small. This made me painfully curious, so I bought it immediately. It seems like communication, quality control, and sizing are all out the window on these things, and I wanted to figure out why. Just to jump right into it, these suits are very, very different, but of course similar in design. Let's start with the one that I got from Javi. This one has a metallic blue fabric, vibrant red, a screen printed front logo, and a 3D rubber back logo. Even I can barely fit in this suit. And that's saying something, because it was supposed to be made for somebody 6'2". The legs are super short, but I can get into it, so that's a start. The suit did come with a face shell, but I left that one with Javi so that when he gets the suit of the correct size, he has lenses for it. I did get my hands on one of GV's face shells, so stick around. However, for this suit, I am using L-Boy Carson's face shell, which I'm sure you guys have seen in plenty of his videos. This shell was modeled by Tom_SM21 on Instagram, and it is gorgeous. Unfortunately, these files have been stolen before and used to make profit off of this creator's work. which is extremely unethical, and we will be going over that in an upcoming video. I am a big fan of the blues on this suit, don't get me wrong. I really, really like them. The way the fabric is reflective, it kind of tones down that line pattern that's on all the blues, which is the same pattern that was on the red and black suits that he previously had. I like them, just like not that much. So it's really nice that the shininess of the blue kind of dyes those down and creates an even more classic Spidey look. The back logo on the suit is nice and big. Even though it's a little inaccurate, I do kind of like this because it separates it from the front logo of the costume. However, unfortunately, you can see that it was kind of rushed. It was glued a little too high, there's glue stains around it, and worst of all, like, the legs are way far apart. I will say the shininess of the suit is really cool, but I really don't think that it is a much higher quality than Print Costume or Heroes Time would have produced. Everything is lined up pretty well on both suits, but in the big 2025, that's kind of the bare minimum, especially if you're charging $300 plus for a Spidey suit. So, do you remember those shoes that he had so much trouble with? Yeah, fun stuff. I mean, they fit fine, but the fabric is so tight on the shoes because of the way that he attached them. Any friction at all causes a tear by the toes, which is ridiculous. I mean, I've never had this happen on any Spidey suit with installed shoes, ever. They're admittedly comfortable, but it's a really odd inconvenience to have to sew the suit after wearing it every time. Which, I know, Peter Parker, but you get it. It's a shame, really, because at the end of the day, with these fabrics and a really good face shell, this suit looks like it could have been ripped off of the No Way Home set. I mean, if they actually made a practical suit. Or even in comparison to the concept art, it's pretty spot on. However, consistency and quality control is very, very important. All of GV Fabrication suits were advertised to have this shiny blue fabric. With that in mind, let's take a look at the second suit from GV Fabrications. You can immediately recognize color differences everywhere. The reds are darker, the blues are brighter. These are not the same colors as my last suit. This may have been requested by the original buyer, but it seems unlikely considering these fabric types are kind of part of the suit's design. The line patterns on the blue sections are a lot more visible this time around, and the blue fabric just isn't really shiny. Like at all. Losing that shiny fabric, like, it just makes the design lose so much oomph, if that makes sense. This suit is no higher quality than Print Costume or Heroes Time. And I'm not saying that lightly, man. Like, I could have ordered this same suit from them. For whatever reason, on this one, the back spider is a lot more accurate. So that's cool, and it's screen printed this time. But that's pretty much the only redeemable thing about this suit, especially when you consider the price and the standard of the first suit that we got from him. It does fit well. It's very Tom Holland-esque without all the wrinkles because it's very tight. This one is also a tad easier to get into. Not by much, but a little bit. Now, this suit did not come with shoes, and honestly, that's fine because of what's happening with the other suit. I would rather just put them in myself at this point. Oh, right. Okay, mask, lenses, face shell, all the good stuff. Let me get to it. We saw how much aura the last face shell added to the suit, so let's check this one out. To my wonderful surprise, immediately opening the face shell, it didn't work. Mind you, when I unboxed this, the face shell had never been used. There were no eye holes cut in the mask. Like, it was all pretty much brand new, straight from GV Fabrications. The magnets were so insanely weak, the lenses were just falling off. GV's shell is much different in design compared to the Tom_SMs. I'm not opposed to this idea. Spidey's face shape changes quite a bit throughout the MCU movies between CGI and practical shots, so you might not even notice that it changes. GV's shell uses a clip system, which is a bit similar to the original Raimi-style face shells, where they only had a clip and one magnet for it to sit there. And the singular magnets that came with GV's face shell were garbage. Like, literal trash. And I don't say that lightly about stuff, especially when it's handmade. I just don't. You're already charging more than most companies for a Spider-Man suit of the same quality, and you can't even buy good magnets? That's just off-putting, and it really set me off that I was having problems right out of the box with this suit. This is something that you would expect to be ready to wear out of the box, no questions asked. Either way, I took some Goo Gone, I got the glue off, I went in and replaced the magnet so it would actually stick. This was an easy fix, thankfully, but it's one that should not have had to be made. When shipping heats up glue and magnets come off because of the process of it heating up and becoming loose, that's completely different. But if I'm struggling to get the glue and the magnet off of the shell, and the magnet still sucks, you're just buying cheap shit. As I said, in comparison, these suits are the same, but completely different. With these two suits made by the same guy laying on the ground next to each other, you can see how different they really look. And this is concerning. I mean, does every suit made by this guy look slightly different? Why is there no consistency here? In my personal experience, any black suit that I made needs to look just as good, if not better, than the last customer's. So it's just very weird that this suit that he made for Javi was pretty decent, but the one that Joe got for the same price, same deal and everything, looks like a suit from Print Costume. Even if a different blue fabric was requested, why are the reds so different? It's the same exact pattern, so why are we not using the same fabrics? It's especially weird when I put the mask with the V1 with the V2 suit and it almost matches. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes of these suits, but there's gotta be some changes made. It's just simply unfair. When I first started doing Spidey cosplay, there were only very, very few options of where to get your suit from. And if it was from somebody on Instagram, you absolutely knew that you could trust them and knew what product you would receive. Newcomer cosplayers see all of these different options to go get their suits from, and then they invest in one that takes complete advantage of them. And that sucks to see, because then they can't make any progression with what they want to do. People don't deserve to be paying half of an RPC Studio suit for something that's the quality of Print Costume, maybe a tiny bit better, but it just doesn't warrant the way these people are getting treated for these suits. From me to GV Fabrications, this is not a personal attack. I don't know you. I'm sure you're a good guy with good intentions that wants to make a living surrounded by the stuff that he loves. I can 100% admire and relate to that, 100%. However, I just think it's worth it to take a step back from commissions for a second once you finish whatever run you're doing and just kind of rework things. Work with your customers a little more because you're leaving everybody out in the dark so you can get a leg up, and that's just not right. I hope this video has helped anybody that was considering getting a suit from this creator. You see what product you're gonna get, but you know what the process is going to be like. I'm really not even sure what the solution here is. I've offered my best advice. And the reality is I just want to help you guys avoid being taken advantage of by these kind of people. Everybody's got to get by in the world, but what matters is if you do it right. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Logo is nice and big, which is slightly inaccurate, but I'm not totally opposed to that since it separates it from the The back logo on this suit is nice and big, which I honestly don't mind even though it's a little inaccurate because it separates it from this Why is that so hard to say?